Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy 2023. I hope you had a great end to 2022, and if you haven't, I hope great things happen for you in 2023. My name is Vajiha. I'm a design researcher and artist based in Australia, and if you ask my friends and family, they would tell you that I'm the kind of person who is always up to something, whether it's applying for a new job or taking up one in a new country or starting my own venture. I'm the kind of person who never shies away from saying yes to an opportunity that allows me to learn, grow, and travel during the process. But they would also tell you that I'm the kind of person whose boundaries and self-care game is very strong. And that is a conscious decision, because leading a creative life often means long hours, sleepless nights, and moving on to the next project before you could even appreciate the first one. So I thought it's only appropriate to start 2023 by sharing the self-care system that has helped me manage work, travel, and education over the past few years. I first chalked out this system in 2018 when I came very, very close to a burnout. I was working full-time at the time. I was also studying full-time at UCL. On top of that, I was co-chairing a design conference in Qatar. I was also the exhibition designer behind 2 major design exhibitions in the country. And on top of that, I was traveling every 6 to 8 weeks to present my research and my own work anywhere in the world it got accepted. There was a lot of work that demanded a lot of energy from me that year, and this system kind of helped me get my priorities straight and redistribute my energy as I wrapped up all those projects. And since then, I use this system to roughly plan my year and tweak it as I go along. While each of us use different yardsticks to measure our lives, I hope this system still helps you build your own system and show up for yourselves and your loved ones a little bit effectively this year as you smash your 2023 goals. So without further ado, let's define what do I mean by self-care. The most basic definition of self-care is the activities we perform to enhance our life, health, and well-being. Self-care has almost become a buzzword these days. It has evolved from a Socrates philosophy to a marketing tool. Google search trends show a 250% increase in self-care related searches between 2021 and 22. It has become a $450 billion industry. Add wellness to it and you have a $1.5 trillion industry. Last year, Matt D'Avella made a great video on how self-care might also push us towards narcissism and extreme consumerism without fulfilling our intrinsic human needs for community, rest, good health, and a connection with our surroundings. And I agree, while some self-care offerings do help us relax a little bit better at the end of a busy work week or a busy work day, we don't get any life-changing value from spending $9 on a green sludge every single morning. In fact, deeper scientific research into human psychology and happiness has revealed that our true fulfillment in life is highly dependent on the thoughts we entertain and the conversations we have with ourselves and the people around us. So if we don't care enough to surround ourselves with good habits, literature, and people who inspire us or educate us, I regret to inform you that no amount of bath salts, massages, or face masks will truly support our well-being in the long run. But then the question takes us back to square one. That how do we truly practice self-care so we can show up for ourselves, our loved ones, and our community a little bit better every single day. One story that comes to mind while answering this question, thanks to Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is the story of the duck and the golden egg. It goes something like, a farmer had a pet duck, and one day he saw that it had laid a golden egg. The farmer's excitement went through the roof. He couldn't believe his good fortune, so he took the golden egg to the market to get it appraised. The egg was actually gold, so the farmer sold it and got great value for it. The same thing happened the next day, and then the next day, and then the day after. The farmer went from poor to rich and then super rich. But then one day he thought, why wait in small increments to get rich every single day? There must be more eggs inside duck's belly, so let's just get them all at once. So he took a knife and cut open the duck's belly, only to find that there were no eggs inside it. The duck was gone, and with its farmer's hope of building more wealth. Stephen Covey mentions in the book that true effectiveness in life is a function of 2 things. What's produced, i.e. the golden eggs, and the producing asset and its capacity to produce, that is, the duck. If we apply this analogy to ourselves, the results we produce by exchanging our time, health, and energy become our golden eggs. For example, our income, any social success, or a certain standard of living. And sustaining or amplifying these results over a longer period of time is highly dependent on enhancing our own capacity to keep producing these results over the same period of time. For example, by learning and educating ourselves better, by surrounding ourselves with a team that lets us focus on our own work, and by surrounding ourselves with people who push us forward. It is also important to have a balance of both production and the capacity to produce. For example, if after getting the first results of our hard work, we start completely neglecting our health and the time with our friends and family, that might impact everything. Early symptoms can include stress, creative anxiety, burnout, and early physical health issues, to name a few. I came very close to it, and it's totally not suggested. But if after getting a few short-term results, we start wasting our time and start being lazy about our own projects now that we have a little bit of success, we might also eventually lose our capacity to produce those results. So, balance is important. To ensure that we keep producing results over a sustained period of time, we need systems that loosely hold us accountable. I'm saying loosely because there's nothing fancy about perfecting a morning routine that keeps us from doing the actual work. Contrary to what 5 million Instagram posts with hashtag self-care tell us, it is a struggle most days for all of us, and getting caught up in planning is the perfect procrastination tool. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And that's true. If we have a system that helps us visualize our progress during different stages and seasons of our lives, it helps the process of self-awareness, empathy, acknowledging our struggles and growth so much easier. It also lets us celebrate our small wins a little bit better. The way I do it is that I have defined 6 main categories that are important to me in my life. And to set my goals and track my progress, I further divide them into subcategories. I call this the HAPPIE system. That's happy with an I and E. And the 6 categories of the system are health, affiliations, purpose, progress, investments, and education. So without further ado, let's go through them one by one. Number 1 is my health. I believe that my health is the fundamental pillar of everything I do in life. If I am in good emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual health, I will be more helpful to others and more actionable towards my own goals. So my health is sort of a broader umbrella, and then I subdivide it into spiritual, physical, and mental health. My spiritual health is the foundation of my relationship with myself, my identity as a Muslim, and my limited life on this earth. And keeping it in check helps me to regulate my emotions, especially on the days when I'm experiencing anxiety, loss, some sort of disappointment, or I'm dealing with energy-hungry projects. Spirituality is different for everybody. I'm a Muslim, so I like to pray and practice gratitude to remind myself that my successes and my struggles are both necessary to help me grow. One gratitude exercise that has worked really well for me in the past few years, especially since COVID, is to list 5 things in 5 seconds that I'm grateful for as soon as I wake up. For example, I woke up, I get to live another day, that's number 1. I woke up with a healthy body, I have no sickness, that's number 2. I woke up, I can see things around me, I have good physical vision, that's number 3. I woke up in a comfy bed and I had a good night's sleep, that's number 4. I woke up to no bad news, my friends and family are safe, that's number 5. Every day I switch it up and I realize that things that matter most in life, like my friends, my family, my health, my capacity to learn, earn, my education, and my freedom, I already have them. I don't have to lose my mind over a project that didn't go as planned or a deadline that I did not meet. Today is a brand new day and I'm capable of building something new. Then comes my physical health. I am guilty of neglecting my physical health for a good part of my 20s. I have a lean physique, but I have been far away from being healthy. I have lived off of instant ramen and Red Bull thanks to thesis times and dorm life. But one thing that I've never missed is to build some sort of exercise in my routine. It could be as simple as going up and down the stairs 20 times a day, or playing badminton or some sort of sports for 20 minutes a day. It could also be going for a quick run in the morning or in the evening. It makes a massive difference when you actively seek to be an active person. As a personal rule, I don't skip 2 days of exercise in a row. A lot of YouTubers talk about this 2-day rule. The idea is to build a habit of showing up rather than smashing our goals. Because if we consistently show up, we will eventually make progress towards our goals, whatever they might be. For my diet, I've been trying to eat clean for the same 4 years that I've been conscious about my health, and I take cooking as an ultimate form of self-care. I do really enjoy it. There's something very satisfying to me about trying to follow my grandma's biryani hacks, although we all use the same masalas. On most days, I also try to eat dinner by 7 p.m., which gives me plenty of time to have a walk post-dinner, which I absolutely love. You can do the same. Listen to your body, eat healthy, and try to experiment with different exercise routines to come up with a balance that suits you and is more sustainable in the long run. Then comes my mental health. Taking care of my mental health also partially starts with having a good physical routine and having a good diet. By feeding myself good food and building some exercise in my day-to-day life, I prime my body and my mind to be in a good thinking and processing state. I try to give enough breaks to myself between work. The first thing I do when I get up is to realistically determine how my day would look like. For example, if I have work all day, then I try to realistically set expectations for how many hours do I have left for any personal work, meeting with friends and family, and any hobbies that I would like to do after work. If it's a rest priority day, then I set everything aside. But if it's a work priority day, then I slot roughly every activity into my calendar that I see forthcoming on that day. And then I set one top priority that absolutely needs to happen that day. And if the rest don't happen, they don't happen. For example, if I have a conference paper deadline or an exhibition deadline, and I have work or I'm teaching all day, what ideally I try to do is try to work on that submission way in advance. And 2 or 3 days before it's due, I would wake up way before I go to work. So if I have to go to work at 9, I would wake up at 4 and I try to finish the submission. That way it gives me plenty of time to troubleshoot if anything goes wrong, or if any link is not working, or if there's anything on the application that I have missed by any chance. I still have time to process it and then submit it on time. But that being said, I'm an artist and a lot of things don't start up until 2 days before the submission. For those days, I always keep my annual leave. And if I feel like I need to take a break and finish this thing, I use those days and I just do it. Another important part of my mental health is setting clear personal, educational, and work boundaries. I think I have got really good at setting boundaries over time. They are an excellent tool to set the right expectations and show up well for your family, your friends, and for yourself. For example, if my siblings need something from me and my week is really packed with work, and if that thing is not urgent, I try to tell them what day of the week I would be able to get to it. But if it's urgent, I try to put aside some work and get that done so that my siblings can move forward to the next step. The same is true for my work. I don't check any work emails after 5 p.m. I don't have any work email on any of my personal devices. I check social media when I have to, or if a meme is too good to not be forwarded. I can go on and on about boundaries because honestly, in the past couple of years, especially since COVID, they have really helped me set the right expectations between my work, my education, and my family. Or perhaps I can even make a separate video about them. But that's for another day. For now, let's move on to the second sort of broad umbrella of the HAPPIE system, which is my affiliations. All my relationships fall under this category. Family for me comes first. I am an expat/international student, which means a long stretch of time is usually spent away from family. I try to call my family post-dinner every single day, and I alternate between my mom and my dad. I have observed over the years that I have learned so much more from their individual experiences in those deeper conversations throughout the years. With my siblings, we don't really care. We call each other whenever the time comes up, and there is no set pattern for that. We just pick up the phone and see if the other person is available. Then the second layer is my friends. I try to call, text, DM, WhatsApp, video call, or physically meet them as much as I can. Again, a lot of them now live in different cities or different countries. I have moved away, so a lot of time passes between those meetings, but I do try to make it a point to catch up with one friend in detail every weekend. The third layer is my mentors. I have about 7 to 10 key mentors from the fields of business, design, research, and academia, and I try to meet at least one of them every month. Some I meet more often than others, but this video is a great reminder that I haven't emailed some of them in ages and I should get in touch. The third broad umbrella of the HAPPIE system is my purpose, the things I believe in and the things I'm working for. All my research, work, and education falls under this category. I also divide work into 2 further subcategories: work that is my passion projects, such as this YouTube channel, and work that sometimes just pays the bills, such as a job or any curatorial projects, where sometimes I don't have a lot of creative room. I've observed that by taking that initial pressure off of some of my passion projects, I allow myself to scale them up even more. For example, my research. I don't get paid a hefty 6-figure salary, but I still get paid, which is excellent. But on top of that, I get access to facilities and labs to test my ideas and mentors to guide me, which is an absolute blessing to have. And that makes my research one of my happiest places. Similarly, my curation and consultancy work didn't bring me a lot of money in the beginning, but it did bring me a couple of good projects, which enabled me to negotiate the money I wanted to get later on and the people I wanted to work with, because sometimes it's not just about money. I also set goals for where I want to be in each of the purpose areas and then measure my progress accordingly, which brings me to the fourth umbrella of the HAPPIE system, that is progress. I track my progress in the areas of work, research, and learning. I used to measure it 3 times a year in 4-month chunks, but as of this year, I am measuring it in 4 3-month quarters. It somehow feels like a better framework, and I have more gap built in between those 3 months to sort of review and pivot. I track every project that I have in the purpose section, along with the learning curve and resources coming in and going into each of them. The purpose kind of guides what to measure in a project, and that's how I kind of know what project is a good return on investment in relation to the time or money spent on it. For example, for this channel, my goal is to share my creative journey and to help other people in their own creative journey or research journey. So the time and resources spent on this channel are dedicated to that goal. I can then measure each quarter whether I'm getting the message across, how many people it's reaching, and how to scale up. And that brings me to the fifth umbrella of the HAPPIE system, which is investments. Very important, because as much as I wish we all learned about money versus personal education in college, the case is otherwise. We all know a huge number of people who are very talented but are in dead-end jobs, people who are doctors, engineers, lawyers, but still have crippling student loans. And that indicates that we all need to learn a lot about money, time, and personal resource allocation and how it works as a mechanism away from our formal education. I realized this almost a year into my design career, that although I've been blessed with good education and will be in this field for a long period of time, I'm far away from real-world financial education. So I try to educate myself as much as I can, and although I have come a long way, I still have a long way to go. I try to learn about them as much as I can, and then I further divide it into 3 subcategories of time, energy, and money. Time for me is one of the most important assets I have in addition to my health, so I try to audit my time as best as I can. I roughly keep a calendar of blocked chunks of time for things that I want to occupy my time with, and then review it at the end of the week to see if it ended up happening. If it didn't, what was the reason? Can I change something? Is it too much? If not, I keep the same. If it's too much, I take out things. And if it's less, if I can squeeze more things in that I want to work on, I allocate time for that. And on the days if I don't feel like doing anything or being productive, I shamelessly write off the entire day to take rest and give myself a much needed break. Then comes my energy. For most of us, our research, studies, work, business occupies so much of our energy that there is hardly left at the end of the day for our own hobbies, any sports, family, friends, or even making a proper meal. I've been there, especially during exhibition openings or thesis crunch, and it is very hard in those times to be able to sit and reflect on what is happening. So on those days, I try to manage my energy intentionally very, very well. I try to take mini breaks as much as I can, and also intentionally block out time for cooking a nice meal so I can sit and eat and feel the joy of good food. On normal days, when I'm not on a time crunch for a research deliverable or an exhibition, I try to wake up hours before I'm required at work or in my studio, and I do my creative writing and ideation hours before I even get out of the house. And in the evening, once I'm out of my studio, I try not to think about work or research at all. Of course, having boundaries help. If I don't have any triggers in the form of emails and feedbacks coming in, it really helps to kind of wind down and not think about research. Because if I keep thinking that, it can very quickly turn into productivity guilt, and that's something I really don't like. Then comes money. I have a lot to learn in this section. Especially since I was not born here and I did not grow up in the West, I have a big opportunity to learn how investments, savings, and taxes work in this part of the world. I try to read and educate myself as much as I can and see how can I develop good saving habits, good investments habits, and good earning habits. I also try to set goals towards developing good financial habits. For example, in 2023, my goal is to earn my first dollar on the internet. And I'm having absolute blast trying to learn how digital products and services work and how to develop some of my own. Which brings me to my sixth and absolute favorite area of the HAPPIE system, and that is education. I again divide education into three categories: work skills, soft skills, and life skills. For work skills, anything that I need to perform my job better, for example, learning a new software. I also mentioned starting this YouTube channel has been a big learning curve, so stuff like that. That is all wrapped up in my work skills. Number two is soft skills. These are all the skills that I want to learn to be able to improve the quality of my communication and relationships. For example, learning to speak to a camera. Or recently I noticed that my attention span and everything was getting much shorter. I was jumping from one task to the other, one conversation to the other. So I'm trying to intentionally slow down and take my time to process my conversations. For example, if I have to talk to someone and I can do a video call, I would absolutely do that to be able to make that connection with the person. Small, simple, mindful changes like that have helped me so much more in the past few months, especially when I'm talking to someone in person. I feel like I retain so much more information and so much more about a person when I try to minimize distractions. The third and final layer is life skills. These are skills that I want to physically learn. For example, I've mentioned a couple of times on this channel, I'm not a very good swimmer. Even worse swimmer in open sea. So the goal for the past couple of years has been to get better at that and get better, especially in the open sea, because I eventually want to be able to surf. And for that, I have to be a good swimmer first. So that's it. There you have it. These are the 6 sections of the HAPPIE system. The only thing I do additionally is to review these sections every quarter and then make adjustments accordingly, according to how life happens for me. Some years go perfect, even better than planned. Some years, not so much. For example, during COVID, all my plans, I threw them out of the window. And for 2 years, I just wanted to take care of my own health and my friends and family's well-being. Any additional project that came my way during that time, I only took it if I had the headspace for that. Similarly, post-COVID, I'm trying to be very mindful of the projects I take and work that I scale up. I try to do it slowly, so that I have enough rest and enough buffer time built in, because the last thing I want to do is to get burned out doing what I love. I truly believe that there is no self-care without self-awareness. So invest time in tracking your own needs and prioritize your rest, time with your friends and family, your health, things that truly matter to you. That is the single best thing you can do for yourself in 2023. Be empathetic with yourself, acknowledge that it is impossible to be perfect in every area of your life, so prioritize what's important and let the rest fall to next quarter or next year. I wish you all the best in coming up with a system that works best for you this year. Let me know in the comments below what is your biggest priority for 2023, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.